I'm Dr. Gail Dubinsky, orthopedic medicine and yoga instructor in Sebastopol, Northern California. Today we are going to do a short strand of yoga pearls, short sequences of yoga exercises that we string together. And today this is a little bit of a next level sequence because it involves hip openers and lower back openers that may not be as easy or accessible for some people, especially if there is a fresh or relatively fresh low back injury or a disc injury. But we are going to be doing hip openers in the position that's known as cobbler pose or tailor pose. The beautiful yoga name for it is Baddha Konasana. And this is a bit challenging. And if you find yourself just in this sort of situation where your knees are popped up and your back is slumped back, we really are going to be endeavoring this entire time to keep our low back level with, or sometimes forward, depending on what we're doing, of the hips. So if that is a struggle, then we need to sit on something firm and supportive, like a folded blanket or a pretty firm pillow. So as you could see immediately, that straightens up the spine, lowers the hips, the knees. You don't really have to have your knees down on the floor, obviously, but you just don't want them up in your ears. Okay. Thing is that when you hold on to your feet or your ankles, I have extremely long arms, it's not a problem, but when you sit up, then it's a little further to your feet. So then you may wish to use some kind of strap or tie, and then you can just be comfortable. Because the main thing is you want to have an ease and lift in the spine in this rather challenging position for the hips. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate without, but keep in mind you can be sitting on your lift the entire time. So where you put your feet is up to you, just as long as we have the elements I just explained in place. And we're going to start, and it's okay also to lift your feet off the ground a bit, just as long as the heels stay on, but you can lift your toes up a bit. We're going to start with something just called butterfly, and you're just gently bouncing your knees up and down, and you're just sort of giving your hips a little bit of a circulation. You could oscillate like this, but basically it's just done both at the same time. So try to keep your chest lifted, shoulders relaxed, and you can do this for about a minute. Okay, just sort of bringing some circulation and gentle range of motion. We don't do a lot of this kind of bouncing in yoga, but this is a yoga exercise that can be done. It's very gently. We're not forcibly doing this. Okay, then we're going to try to do a spinal flex in this position. And as I said, it's rather challenging. So I'm going to turn a little bit diagonally so you can see. And again, holding on, you can bring your feet further away and then hold on to your legs. That may be a lot easier because this definitely does challenge a lot of muscles around the hips. You're stretching the inner thigh. There's also a stretch in the hip muscles back here. And of course, the low back is trying to stay lifted. So we're going to do our spinal flex where we inhale, bringing the low back and solar plexus forward, keeping the head as a very minor part of this movement. Exhale, now we do allow the spine to roll back. Inhale forward, exhale back. So whatever grip works for you, the toes, the shins, using your strap. Inhale forward, exhale back. So this is, as I said, a bit of a next level spinal flex. Breath is through the nose. Trying to keep the head not a major component of this movement. Keeping it a minor component of this movement. Okay, you could continue longer, but that was just for demonstration. And then, this is where we're really going to get into some very quiet, deep stretching. I have a rule that I call the 80% rule, which is that You don't want to go more than about 80, 75, 80% of your tolerance for a stretch. The sensation that you're getting in your joint or your muscle, not your joint per se, but just the soft tissues around the joint and the muscles around the joints. So you don't want to get to the point where you are inwardly gritting your teeth or screaming inside. That just invokes the sympathetic fight or flight response, which is the exact opposite of what we're trying to do here. So you just want to slowly spend the time really sinking in. You're folding from the hips, but you are not keeping a ramrod straight spine. You are allowing a bit of a rounding to occur, but not a collapse. You're not collapsing. You are leaning forward, stretching the belly toward the feet, the chest beyond the toes, letting your shoulders come down. You can use your arms, if they reach your legs, to gently keep them open. And this is an exercise that you could do for several minutes. And when I say several, I mean 2 or 3. You could actually slowly open, breathing into your hips, breathing into your thighs, breathing into wherever you feel the resistance. If it's too much, backing up just a bit, taking that breath in and really sending it to the area that is offering some resistance. So we're probably not going to be putting our forehead on the floor, but you can pretty much project your third eye point toward the ground, and you can project your knees outward, your chest outward, just taking those slow, long breaths. And then when you're ready to be done, just go ahead and let yourself kind of collapse a little bit, round a little bit, let your head come down. And then walk yourself up. You've just opened everything up, so use your hands. Use your hands. And then you're probably ready to kind of get out of that position, so you can just kind of stretch your legs forward, pat your legs, sit cross-legged. So that was a next level strand of pearls for a tremendous hip opener. For more clips, visit the other growing repertoire of yoga pearls and other clips on the YouTube channel and my yoga website, RX Yoga, for DVDs and longer clips. Namaste.